Hey everyone, welcome to our channel and enjoy today's explanation. In the starting of the movie, we have informed that a deadly virus released in 1996 wipes out almost all of humanity, forcing survivors to live underground. A group known as the Army of the 12 Monkeys is believed to have released the virus. In 2035, James is a prisoner living in an underground compound. He has been taken in front of some scientists. The scientist tells that, "We have invented a machine by which we can send a person back into time, and we want you to time travel in 1996 when the virus had started spreading in the world. By going there you have to find the original virus sample, so that we can make antidote for the virus at the present time." James agrees on the condition that they will pardon his sentence. After this, he was sent back to the past in 1996, but accidentally he reaches in 1990, where he was arrested as a result of the fight with police. Here a doctor named Catherine comes to meet him. James was considered insane because of his weird words and behaviors. Then he was presented in front of a doctor's team and Catherine was one of them. James informed them, in 1996 a virus spread all over the world and by 1997 more than half of the world's population had been wiped out. I have come from 2035 to find out that virus so that we can make its antidote in the future. But nobody believes on James' statement. Later, James asked to call his scientist team because they has given me a number from which I can send my message in 2035. James was allowed, but when he calls a woman picks up the call. Because scientists had set the time machine to receive messages from 1996 to 2035. But James is in 1990. All the doctors assumed James a mental patient and he was sent to a mental asylum, where he meets another mental patient named Jeffrey with environmentalist and anti-corporatist view. When James was brought to his room he suddenly disappears and comes back to his original time, means 2035. James is interrogated by the scientists who play a distorted voicemail message that asserts the association of the Army of the 12 Monkeys with the virus. Scientist asks James, "Did you send this message because it was received from 1996? He tells them that you have sent me in 1990 instead of 1996. James is inquired by showing some pictures. Here he saw the picture of Jeffrey who met him in mental asylum. The scientists offer James another chance to complete his mission and send him back in time. Again James accidentally arrives at a battlefield during World War I and he was shot by a gun on his leg. But time turns again and this time James reaches to 1996 where he was supposed to come. Here we see Dr. Catherine whom we saw in 1990 and now she has become a very famous doctor. At the post-lecture book signing, Catherine meets Peter who tells her that because of humans the earth is going to end one day. Overpopulation and extensive usage of natural resources will destroy the earth. James arrives at the venue after seeing flyers publicizing it, and when Catherine departs he kidnaps her and forces her to take him to Philadelphia because the virus has begun there. Catherine recognizes that he is the same person who disappeared from mental asylum 6 years ago. James tries to convince her that I am a time traveler, but she doesn't believe him. They reach North Quay City. James sees the marks and poster of 12 Monkey Army. He understands that the 12 Monkeys team has been activated and is about to complete its mission. James sees the face of an animal outside a shop that was the sign of the 12 Monkey Army. He rushes off to that shop where 3 people were present. He says, "I know you're the people of the 12 Monkeys. Now tell me your leader's name." They deny telling initially, but when James points the gun at a girl, they finally tells the name of their leader is Jeffrey. Jeffrey is quite famous because his father is a scientist who works on the viruses and their antidotes, but Jeffrey is against his father's experiments on animals. James depart to meet Jeffrey, but the bullet war still stuck in his leg. Catherine says, "I'm a doctor and it's my duty to cure your injured leg." Then she removes the bullet from his leg and bandages him. When James confronts Jeffrey, he denies any involvement with the group and says that, "In 1990 you originated the idea of wiping out humanity with a virus stolen from my virologist father." James gets angry hearing this and attacks him. Meanwhile Jeffrey's companions arrive there and James has to run away. He opens the back of his car in which he has locked Catherine. She attacks on him with her leg and says, How you dare to lock me in a car? James calms her down and tells that the world is near to its end and the survivors will reside underground. James says that I will not go back from this time because I am not at all happy with my real life. I have to spend the rest of my time under the open sky. Meantime, they hear police sirens and Catherine honks her horn to call the police. But as soon as Catherine turns back to see him, he has disappeared from there. Later, the lab staff informs Catherine that the bullet you have submitted is not from the present time but from World War I. Catherine becomes shocked after listening this, and she also saw James when she checks the war pictures. She understands that James is not insane. Everything he has said regarding time travel is true and the world is also coming to an end. For this reason, she calls Jeffrey's father and informs him that your son is going to steal the virus from your lab. But Jeffrey's father tells that the place is completely safe and Jeffrey cannot come here. James, who was in the year 2035, was brought back in time to 1996 in order to complete his mission. He meets Catherine and tells her that I want to surrender to the police. He was saying this because his mind had been affected as a result of frequent time travel. Catherine says that I know you're not crazy and everything you said was true. She takes him along and asks about the number on which he can talk to the scientist in 2035. He immediately recalls the phone number that he previously used in 1990. Catherine calls on that number and tells about the 12 monkeys. When she come back after some time, she was quite happy. She tells James, I've told them that 12 Monkey Army has finished its task. James says you must have said Merry Christmas in the last. She becomes shocked to hear this because she actually stated this. James says that I heard your message in 2035. James has decided to live in this time, so he removes the chip from his teeth, which scientists had installed in 2035, to which James was connected to the time machine. James had never seen the sea in his life, so he requests Catherine to take him to see the sea. For this they changes their appearance because the police was finding James. When James sees her in a different appearance, he tells her, you always come in my dreams and I always had only one dream in which I used to see you. Catherine also tells him that it seems like she already knows James. The next morning, they leave for the place where Catherine has to show him the sea. On the way, the driver informs them that the army of 12 monkeys successfully completes their work. They learn that the army of the 12 monkeys was not the source of the epidemic. The group's major act of protest is releasing animals from a zoo and placing Jeffrey's father in an animal cage. Means they actually want to free animals, not to spread the virus. They reach the airport where Catherine buys the ticket and James leave a message telling the scientists that following the army of the 12 monkeys is the wrong track and he will not return. James is confronted by Jose, who was his cellmate in 2035. He gives him a handgun and instructs him to follow orders. Otherwise we have to kill Catherine. Catherine spots Peter at the airport and recognizes him from a newspaper as an assistant of Jeffrey's father. She also remembers that on the book releasing day he says to her, humans have made this earth incapable to live and we have to take major steps towards this. She understands that Peter is the man who is going to spread the virus all over the world, which he stole from Jeffrey's father's lab. She tells this all to James and both of them leave to stop Peter. They seize Peter, but he has reached far ahead in security checking. Catherine and James haven't allowed to go ahead because of the security. She shouts and says to stop him because he has a dangerous virus. But nobody hears her and James runs after the Peter by taking the gun. But the police arrives there that were already searching for James and they shoot him. As James lies dying in Catherine's arms, it was the scene that James has seen many times in his dreams. Catherine suddenly begins to scan the crowd around her. Catherine finally makes eye contact with a small boy, that was none other than the young James, witnessing the scene of his own death. Peter aboard the plane with the virus. He has planned to travel several places in order to spread the virus within a week. A woman was sitting next to him. Actually, she was one of the scientists from the future and she knows that Peter was going to be the virus spreader. You might be wondering why the virus has not yet been wiped off after killing the Peter. Because it affects the whole timeline and puts in question mark on future humanity existence. That's why this is the plan of the scientists, to know as much about the virus as possible so that they can make antidote for the people of the future. I hope that you liked the video. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.